What's up, guys, and welcome back to another preseason video here on the channel. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But in today's episode, we're going to be getting into the preview for the Chicago Blackhawks, how they did a little bit last year, as well as predict what I think they'll be doing this upcoming season with top performers, as well as special showings from players that we didn't expect this upcoming year, and what I think, as well as predicting their season. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. And first and foremost, man, oh man, the Blackhawks were not very good last year at all. 26, 49, and 7 for a total of 59 points. Technically wasn't the worst in the NHL, but they did win the draft lottery, and their fortunes have forever changed as they have hit Connor Bedard, the consensus #1 overall pick from the draft this past season, potential franchise type player like the McDavids, like the Crosbys, like the Patrick Kanes that they've had in Chicago. When it comes to last year and stats, those are on the screen right now, and actually their leading point getter isn't even on their team anymore. Max Domi had 49 points on the year. Patrick Kane, 45. Anthony Ciu, the only player from the Blackhawks from last year who had a lot of points, 40 points in 81 games played. Dude's still on the roster, but that is not good. Seth Jones, 37 points in 72 games played. Jonathan Toews there with 31. Dickerson, Kurashev, and then Sam Lafferty, who is also no longer with the Chicago Blackhawks anymore. So they're going to need a lot of players to step up who are on the roster now, as we'll take a look now at Cap Friendly, looking at their lineup, because they did bring in quite a few good players to bring around Connor Bedard and show him the ropes, I think, a little bit more so on the veteran side, veteran presence that they brought in. When it comes to cap space, they still do have potential cap room to make some moves. They are sitting at about $12.8 million worth of cap space, so they still potentially could bring in some players to get around Connor Bedard. They will need to make some space on the roster, but some players that they did bring in, looking at the cap right here. Taylor Hall, obviously they were able to trade for Halsey from the Boston Bruins. Honestly, was a little bit of a head scratcher with the Bruins, I think, trying to re-sign Bertuzzi, make a little bit of cap space, but then Bertuzzi actually ends up signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So a little interesting there. Nick Foligno was also a part of that Taylor Hall trade. They got him over. Corey Perry they were able to trade for with the Tampa Bay Lightning, so should be interested to see him this upcoming season. On the back end, nothing too crazy when it comes to players that they have. And then in between the pipes, Mrazek and Soderblom. I'll be interested to see how Soderblom does this upcoming season at 23 years of age. Should be very, very interesting. But obviously, the big question mark and the thing that everyone is most excited about watching the Chicago Blackhawks this year, Connor Bedard signed that rookie entry-level deal, max $950K for 3 years. So should be interested to see what the Blackhawks can do, putting pieces around him. Again, I wouldn't say that it's anything crazy with Kurashev, Dickerson, Perry, Anthony Ciu, Tyler Johnson. You got Donato. Honestly, one of the players I'm really interested to see how he does, it's a prove-it year, is Radish. Should be interested to see how he does this upcoming season. But looking at their contracts, they've got a lot of guys up after this upcoming season. I think there'll be a little bit of a turnover year, kind of a see how it goes for Connor Bedard, to see if he is the player that we think he is. Then maybe that will bring in some players elsewhere next year, and they will have a ton of cap space. Looking at their cap space potential for next year, I'm trying to find it, is $53 million. That's absolutely insane. So I think Taylor Hall, again, should have a solid year, I think, if they stick him with Bedard. Tyler Johnson maybe have a decent year. I think Anthony Ciu needs to have about a 45 to 60 point effort if he wants another contract or potentially another team in the NHL that will want him after this deal is done. Ryan Donato, I think a $2 million is a very solid deal to have. Connor Bedard, obviously, huge to have him. Radish should be interested. I think it's a big prove-it year. If he can get 45 plus, I think that's a solid year for him, because looking at his stats from last year, he had 37. So I think if he could pop off 45 to 50, I think that's an absolute steal of a year to potentially give him a deal around maybe a 2 for 3, $2 million over 3 years, or maybe even a 3 for 2. I guess we'll have to wait and see. On the back end, Seth Jones is really eating the majority of their cap. On the back end, 28 years old, very solid defenseman, assistant captain. I think they'll eventually give the captaincy to Bedard at this point. Zaitsev, again, solid older type defenseman last year on his deal. Connor Murphy, another older defenseman on a decent deal, 4.4 for the next 3 years. Tenorti, Roos, Phillips, they've kind of got a lot of no names on the back end, a lot of younger guys that Seth Jones can maybe show them the ropes and see how they can perform. I don't expect too much from them, honestly. Between the pipes, they've got Mrazek and Soderblom. Going to be interested to see how Mrazek does. I know he's been injured and has gotten injured the last couple of years in and out of different teams and lineups. Soderblom, we'll see how he does this year. I don't expect too much. Again, 23 years of age. He should get plenty of playing time. I don't expect them to go 50-50 on the goaltenders, to be quite honest. I expect maybe a 60-40, 70-30 split if Mrazek is healthy. That'll be interesting to see moving forward this upcoming season. But overall, again, not a lot of depth for the Blackhawks. It's more of a let's see what we've got with Bedard this year. When it comes to my prediction for them this upcoming season, I expect Bedard to have a pretty decent year. I think 60 to 70 or even more plus points. I think he might cap out at 65 points this year. I think if he can get 25-ish goals, I think that would be very respectable for a first year and potentially win a Calder Trophy. But overall, I expect the Blackhawks to be around where they were last year. I know they have a ton of draft picks for the upcoming 3 years. They got 2 first rounds next year, 2 first rounds in 2025, and 3 second round picks actually in 2024 as well. So ton of potential to continue to build the roster the way they want to. I think if they can be around, they had 26 wins last year. I think anywhere 27 to 32 is a respectable range for them. I don't expect too much. They'll probably be around that 57 to 62 point range, be bottom of the Central Division like they were last year. And to be honest, if you're a Chicago Blackhawk fan, the future is bright. You're not too concerned about the now. More so, I'd say the next 3-4 years. I'd say maybe that last year of the entry-level deal from Bedard is the year you're really circling. If you're a Blackhawks fan, to see if you can bring some players in, bring in some more youth, more draft picks, especially if they have more lottery picks. So the future is bright for the Blackhawks. I just don't think it's this upcoming season. It's going to be a tough one. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments if you guys agree with my prediction, as well as my breakdown for the Chicago Blackhawks. If you are a Blackhawks fan, let me know what you guys are most excited about other than Connor Bedard this upcoming season. But again, if you are new to the channel, be sure to drop a subscribe on the channel. Tell your friends, tell them to come on in. We're trying to hit 750 subscribers here by the start of the season, so subscribe to the channel. If you guys did enjoy this video, drop a like, but that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you guys have a good one, and as always, stay dusty.